In this video, I want to show you how we can present in Teams or Zoom with our video of us speaking beside our PowerPoint slides. Now, this isn't something that natively happens in Teams or Zoom because normally when you share your slides, your video window goes to this tiny little window down in the corner. So I want to show you how we can do this using just basic tools within Windows 10 and PowerPoint. So I'm just using my laptop, the camera in the laptop. Not the greatest camera, but I just wanted to show you that this can work. So I'm going to walk you through the steps on how we do this. So the first thing we're going to do is, so the approach is we're going to share our entire desktop screen to Teams or Zoom. And on that desktop, we're going to have our video on one side and our slides on the other. So the first thing we need to do is to create a really clean desktop. So let me walk you through how we do that. So the first thing we want to do is to clean up all these icons on the desktop. So I'm going to right click anywhere on the open part of the desktop. And in the view item, I'm going to say uncheck show desktop icons. So notice all the desktop icons go away. So now I have a much cleaner desktop to work with. The next thing I want to do is to clean up any apps that I have running. Now, I've minimized everything that I had running, so my email, my all the other stuff, I've closed those down. If you don't close it, at least minimize it, especially, for example, let's say you're going to switch to a browser partway through your presentation, at least minimize that so that it's not distracting for the viewers. And then the taskbar. So the taskbar is the item down here at the bottom. And what we want to do is we want to make it go away. The way we do that is we go to an empty area of the taskbar, we right click, and we go to taskbar settings. So then it opens up the taskbar settings. We want to do two things. First of all, turn the lock of the taskbar off, and secondly, turn the automatic hide on. Notice how the taskbar just disappeared. Now, it's not that it's gone. I'll close this. If you move your cursor down to the bottom, it comes back up. But if you leave your cursor in one spot, then it will disappear. So again, our taskbar settings are automatically hide the taskbar. Okay, so what we want to do, see how it goes away after a couple of seconds. So the other thing that we want to do is to make sure that we don't get interrupted during the presentation. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the notifications area here, and we're going to turn the focus assist to, I'm going to click on it once, click on it another time, so it says alarms only. Now, it's not going to disturb us with notifications of messages, of email, that sort of stuff. So we've got that all set up. Nice clean desktop. Now we need to set up the PowerPoint show. So I've got my PowerPoint slides here, and in my slideshow ribbon, I'm going to go to Setup Show, and I'm going to change it from the default full screen to browse by an individual window. What this does is it's going to run the slideshow in this window only, which means I can determine what part of the screen is the slides and put the video in the other part of the screen. So I'll click OK. I've got that all set up now. And now setting up the video feed. So this video feed is being done not by the webcam. So when you're in Teams, when I go to Teams in just a moment, you'll see I have not shared the webcam. This is just the Windows 10 camera app. See, camera app, just the simple built-in camera app. And what I've done is I have changed it to use the camera I want. So I'm just using my laptop camera because I want you to see that this works with just the basic setup that probably most of us have. And you have two options here, either camera or video. So if I go to photo, one of the things that I'm concerned about is see that focus square that keeps coming up? We don't want that. So if your camera does have that focus capability, you don't want to use the camera mode, click on the video mode. So then it doesn't have that focus square come up. Depends on your camera. On my Surface, it doesn't have that focus mode. So the camera is cleaner, but if you have to use the video, you have to use the video. So we've got all that set up, ready to go. And now the camera app, we're not actually going to use it to record video. We're just going to use it as a preview so that we have essentially the video feed on the screen. So now what we want to do is to set up the desktop arrangement. So a couple of tricks here is what I'm going to do is I'm going to prefer to put my video on the left-hand side and the slides on the right-hand side. So to make my video cropped, because you can't crop it in the camera app. What we can do is I'm going to take this video, the camera app window, and I'm going to drag it off the left side of the screen. And that moves it so it's essentially cropping off all those icons on the left-hand side. And to crop off the icons on the right-hand side, I'm going to take my PowerPoint window here, and I'm going to size it. It's a little too big. Size it so that I've got that set up. And so we want to set this up. Maybe I want to move this a little higher up beside it, and arrange it so that you have the video on one side and the slides on the other side. And so now I'm going to go into slideshow mode from the beginning. And now when I go to Teams, so I'm going to go bring my Teams window up. So I've had the Teams window is going, and I'm going to share. I'm going to share my entire desktop. Now notice I do not have the camera on. I don't have the microphone simply because I'm recording this and I only want one microphone running. So I'm going to share my entire desktop here, screen number 1. And now I am sharing my entire desktop. I can minimize this window that Teams brings up so I don't see that. Now I have my video being shown and my slides. So now I can simply go through my slides, simply click through, talk about this slide, talk about this stage, this stage, this stage, and so on. So it's very easy for me to go through my slides, and you see me beside on the screen. And it looks like I've got this set up this way through Teams, but in fact, I've set it up on my desktop. You're going to see in just a second, I'm going to put on what does this look like for the viewer in Teams. And you're going to see that they see my face large as opposed to the tiny little icon that normally see in the bottom. And they don't see me twice because I've turned the webcam off in Teams. And when you're done, you simply stop sharing in Teams. So I'll go back to my Teams and go to my icon here, say stop sharing, and my Teams is not sharing anymore. Now, if I wanted to turn the webcam on in Teams now because somebody else is going to be presenting, I want them to see me, you can do that, that's fine. Generally, I suggest don't have more than one app trying to access the camera at the same time because conflicts happen sometimes, depends on your hardware setup. But that's how you can set up your desktop so that you have your video on one side and your slides on the other. Now, this also gives you an interesting opportunity. What if you wanted to have your slides more of a square instead of the normal widescreen rectangle, and then you had the video larger? That's an option you now have because you don't have to stick to the 16:9 slide size. So it gives you a lot more options because you control it, and you don't have to worry about the viewer trying to look at your video in this tiny little panel. You have set up so you have your video large beside your slides, and you're just simply sharing your desktop. So that works easily in Teams or Zoom.
If you found this video helpful, there are 3 things you can do to help me out. First, click the like button below the video on YouTube. Second, leave a comment with any questions or feedback. And third, subscribe to my channel. Check out my websites and other videos with more tips and advice. Thanks again for watching.